Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, Elmeganerd here, and today in this video I will be showing you how to do the Easter egg in the new Zombies map, Firebase Z. So without any further ado, let's begin. Okay, so in order to start the Easter egg, you're going to need to have the power on. If you don't know how to do that, I will leave a link down below and a card up above to the video where I covered on how to turn on the power. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Okay, so the first step is to talk to Peck once you've turned on the power. You can find Peck in the OPC behind the blinds. That should now be opened. So just walk up to the window and hit your interaction button to speak with Peck. He's going to talk for a bit during this time. Zombies will ignore you, so you don't have to worry about that unless you shoot them or walk away from Peck. That will cause them to come kind of back towards you. But if you didn't shoot them and you just walked away, you can walk back towards Peck and they'll kind of scramble off again. Once he's done talking, Revnoff will then tell you to come talk to him back at the village. So the next step is you're going to need to go back to the village to talk to Revnoff. He will then give you an access card, which we will need for this step. With this access card, we will then need to make, with the access card, we'll get access to these vials that we need to make a truth serum to get Peck to talk to us. So the locations to find these parts are going to be there's going to be one located in the village right over here, kind of near the stairs that we need to go to get up to the teleporter when you first spawn in. The second place is going to be over here underneath the planning office, and the third is going to be over here in the military control room in the colonel's office. Once you have all three parts, you're going to need to run over to the hospital tent over where the barracks are, and you guys are going to go over to the mixer machine and place them in there. Once you've placed it in there, it will take about 20 seconds to kind of mix it all up, but during this time there will be hellhounds spawning, so just be aware of that. Be careful because they do explode and the fire damage is ridiculous. But once it's done mixing, you'll want to head back over to the mixer and you want to pick up you want to then transfer it into the dispersal thing right next to it. Once you've done that, you can then pick it up, and then you want to run over to the OPC where onto the roof, where you will go over to this AC unit and you will place the dispersal unit right on top of it, which will then start emitting or spraying the truth serum into Peck's room. Once you've done this, you can then go back down and see Peck through the little window. During this, again, zombies won't bother you during this, and then he'll kind of talk and act like a fool for a little bit, and then at some point during that, you are then able or prompted to talk to Peck, which then he will tell you that you'll need to find or talk to 3 people, and then he will give you or then he'll tell you to go to the data center to begin the next step. Okay, so in this step we need to head over and interact with the machine, and we will need to collect memory from these 3 people, Zokolov, Brahms, and Sabim. To collect these memories, we will need to pick up these essence traps that we will then be able to pick up, and now we need to play a little bit of Pokemon. And what I mean by that is we need to place the traps down and capture a mimic. And to do this, simply just it will take up a like where your stun grenades would go. It will take up that spot, and simply just use whatever button you have to throw the what would be your stun grenades, and throw it down on the floor. And then whatever keyed button you have for activating a C4, hit that button, which will then activate the trap. And what you guys will need to do is you'll need to have a special mimic come over near the trap and then activate it to kind of capture him. And in order to successfully capture him, or have a higher chance of successfully capturing him, you'll need to lower the mimic's health to about 10% of his health left to be able to successfully capture him. And how you can tell if you've successfully captured him is that if he goes into the trap and doesn't come back out and it's ready to be picked back up again, that's one way you can tell that he's he's been successfully caught. If he hasn't been, then he will pop back out, destroying the trap, and you will then need to go back to the data center to pick up another trap to then try again. But for the mimics, or to capture the mimics, you can't just use just a regular old mimic that spawns everywhere. You can't just use a regular mimic. It has to be a special mimic, and you can find these special mimics by wandering around the village area, around the motor pool area, and around the jug room or the colonel's office. And how you can tell is that in these specific areas, or in these different areas, there will be like a bunch of score streak items just laying all over the floor, along with like some maybe grenades or other items. When you see this, not all of them are going to pop up. Only one of them will pop the mimic out, and the rest will be inactive, and you can't pick them up. But once you get the special mimic's health down to less than, to about 10% left or less, then you can capture him. And once you've successfully done that, you guys are going to want to run back to the data center. And from here, you want to kind of look off to the right hand side of the machine so you don't accidentally pick up like another trap, and input the memory into the machine. Now, if you've done this correctly, you'll get one of the three people again, Solkov, Brahms, or Sabine. And if you end up accidentally getting a wrong mimic, as in you get one that's not the special one, as in like some random mimic came by and you accidentally caught that one instead of the special mimic, the machine will either tell you one of two things. One, that the memory is corrupted and it can't read it, or you'll get some rando person that we don't really care about. But once you get one of the three people we need, you'll then need to start the next round in order to go to the next two areas to find the next two people, or to find the special mimics for the next two people. And you want to repeat this step for each of the different persons that we need to get the memory from. During this mimic step, this step kind of takes a little bit, and it's a little tedious. So I would recommend building the Rai K84, because we are going to need that gun for the next part of the Easter egg. So while you're doing the mimic step, you can either craft the Rai K84 by gathering the parts, and if you don't know how to do that, I will leave a link down below and an annotation up above to my video of where I covered how to craft it for free. Or you can either get it out of the mystery box, or you can get it as a trial reward. But if you want a guaranteed way to get it, you can always craft it. But once you've gotten all three memories from the three people that we need, you will then be instructed to grab the floppy disk that will then come out of the machine in the same place that, on the right hand side, same place that we've been inputting the memories into. Okay, so with this floppy disk, you'll need to go over to the planning office, and you will then need to place it into the computer over here, which will then open the door to the top of the OPC, which is that little circular thing that has been locked up until now. And you will then go up the stairs, and it will reveal a portal. Once this happens, there'll be a little bit of dialogue from the actual OPC thing itself. And then once it's done, you'll need to go back down and speak with Peck. Peck will tell you to grab these Ethereum crystal containers to give extra power to the OPC. At this point, Revanov will then give you some access codes to open up these little filing cabinets that are a little bit smaller than the ones previously. And from here, right next to Peck's office, you can go up to it and hit whatever your interaction button is, and you can then pick up the container. Now, for the next two, you're going to need a shovel, and for the last one, you are going to need the Rai K84. So for that one, I'll save that one for last, but for the one with the shovel, you can find the shovel in this little like scorched battlefield area, and in these little huts you can find the shovel in one of these. For me it was in this one leaning up against some boxes, but once you found your shovel, pick it up, and then you're going to need to run over to the jug room where where the reactor was to turn on the power. And behind that, you're going to see like another kind of like battlefield looking area with a bunch of like jungle stuff in it. You want to run down there, and as you get closer, you'll start to hear a beeping audio cue. This will tell you that you're getting close to the dirt piles that you'll need to go to find the correct one to dig up with the shovel. And how you can tell if you're getting close to the correct dirt pile that you need to dig up is you'll hear an audio cue like this. Once you hear that, once you're close to it, you'll then be prompted to hit whatever your interaction button is to then dig it up. Once you've dug it up, it will then start a lockdown procedure where a huge bubble will kind of go over around you. And in this, you cannot leave. And there'll be a bunch of mimics, hellhounds, and manglers spawning in with occasional zombie here and there. You'll need to defend yourself and protect yourself during this time. This takes a fairly long time to get through, but once it's done, the bubble will go away and you'll be able to pick up the container, and then you'll be ready for the next container that we need to grab. Okay, so for the second container, we are going to need to go over to the planning office in that little open field thing right in front of it. And what you're going to want to do is you guys are going to come over here. Again, listening to the audio cue of the beeping that will signify where the pile of dirt is that you need to dig up, and you guys will need to dig it up. Once you guys do that, it will then spawn a whole bunch of containers everywhere around the planning office, like in the field, underneath, above, like in the office, near the OPC. And what you guys are going to want to look for is the one that is just pure white inside, doesn't have any of the black flakes or black smoke. And you guys want to look for the one that's pure white. I'll show a picture up on screen of the one that you guys are going to need to look for and pick up. If you guys pick up the wrong one, it's going to cause a bunch of mimics to spawn, and you guys are going to have to do it over again. Or do this part over again. So you guys are going to make sure that you guys are looking at the correct one, and make sure that it doesn't have any black little flakes inside and or smoke. It just has to be like white smoke, white flakes, white everything inside. If you guys spot one that looks like that, just double check everywhere around to make sure that you guys haven't forgotten to look somewhere, or just double check. It's always good to double check, but once you've found the right one, just go ahead and pick it up, and the rest of them will despawn, and the one that you've picked up will then show in your inventory. And you guys are ready for the third one. So for the next container, you're going to need to go to the barracks area where the two barracks tents are and the hospital tent is, and you're going to want to come over here, and you want to come over to this spot here. Again, you'll get the same audio cue when you get closer to the dirt pile you'll need to dig up, and you're going to need to dig up the next container. Now this is the part where you're going to need to have the Rai K 84, and because once you've digged up the container is then going to flee to an area within the hospital / barracks area, and it will keep moving every time you get close to it. So you need the Rai K 84 to switch to the toggle to the other mode by toggling it to that mode, where instead of just firing like normal assault rifle rounds, in air quotes, you'll be prompted to shoot this spinning how would you say it, like spinning razor blade type thing, and you're going to want to fire that over to the container, which will then keep it from moving. And how you can toggle this is, if you're on keyboard, you can just hit the default button, which is B, or if you are on console, you just hit up on the D-pad to switch it to that second mode. But once you've shot it at the container, and it will to then keep it from being able to move, just simply as quickly as you can run up to it and hold your interactive button to pick it up. Once you have all three containers, you're going to want to run to each of the three ether reactors that we initially activated to turn on the power, and you guys want to place the containers into those reactors. Once you've done that, you'll then be prompted to go back to the OPC. From there, you'll see like this like cool little visual where you see it start to like power up or whatever, and then it just dies. Once this happens and the visual is done, Peck will then automatically start talking and saying that we fucked up on the mixing the truth serum correctly. So by the time he told us about the containers, he was already done. Being more of a prick, as one would say. And after about 30 seconds after Peck is done talking, Weaver will then start to talk about redirecting the satellite dish that's in the middle of the map to help us get what we want. After Weaver is done talking, you're going to need to go back up to the planning office to use a different computer, and this will prompt a sort of mini game to realign the satellite dish. And what we're looking for is one of the yellow dots that has a bunch of question marks instead of a country's flag. If you're on console, I believe you can just use the D-pad to move the little cursor around to the dot that we need. If you're on PC, you can use these buttons here to move the cursor to the corrected dot that we need. Just letting you know, if you are doing this in solo, you will need to be careful though, because this unlike the dialogues previously when you're talking to like Peck or Revnov, zombies will still come at you and they'll still hit you. So you might want to, you're going to need to be careful about this. And how I went about doing this without getting, utterly fucked up by a zombie while I was trying to do this is I used decoy grenades, and I threw them a pretty good distance away from me so that even when they were done and the zombies were then coming back at me, I still had enough time to, to get it done. So I would definitely use decoy grenades because they can help a lot. But once you've done that, you'll see an awesome like cinematic visual where the satellite will then start to move, and these like red laser beams will start like shooting into the big satellite, which will then shoot into some like two smaller satellites. During this time, you can just run around, reperk if you need to, buy some more ammo, buy some more armor if you need more armor. And once it's done, you will then be prompted to go back to the OPC, and from here you'll go to the computer on the right hand side and interact with that computer. Once you do this though, this will start the boss fight. So unless you're already, unless you're 100% ready to go ahead and start it, hit that button. If you're not, go ahead and do whatever you got to do. And then hit the button. Once you've hit the button, it will start this cutscene, and then you'll be brought right into the fight. During this fight, you will be able to pack a punch if you need to pack a punch, and you'll be able to reperk if you've gone down by using the one defizz. During this fight, the boss has a couple different attacks that he can use. One is he slams this big arm of his onto the ground. If you are near him when he does this, this will insta-kill you. No matter if you have full armor, jug, it doesn't matter. He will insta-kill you. So, you want to use some ranged weapons to keep you away from him so that you never have to deal with this, and you can do some damage and be at a safe distance so you don't have to deal with it. The other two attacks that he can do is, one, he'll open up his fist arm, the same arm that he uses to slam onto the floor. He'll open that up to fire these like flaming dogs at you. So be careful of that. And his last attack that he can do is firing these like plague clouds at you, which you can shoot out of the air by just shooting at it. But if it hits you, it'll trickle down your health a little bit. It's not gonna be like a ton, but it'll trickle down your health a little bit. This fight is kind of long, so don't feel like you have to just solely focus on the boss. So you can do some damage to the boss and then shoot the zombies that are constantly spawning around you, just to make sure that you're not getting pinned up by a zombie accidentally when you're trying to go for the boss. But just make sure that you're doing whatever you gotta do to stay safe while you're killing the boss. Once the boss is dead, you'll be entered back into the cutscene, and from here, congratulations, you guys have now completed the Easter egg. And if you guys have liked the video, please leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you're new. This really helps my channel to be able to grow. And stay tuned for some more Firebase Z content. Peace.
Ting tang, walla walla bang bang, ooh ee.